Okay, great. We're live. Coming back for our basic training review. So we've finished all of 1 through 4 and the restorative practices. And now we're just going to take an entire day, an entire hour to review that and make sure that it's in our bones. We want to get the basics in our bones. And that really just happens through our own practice. So today's really not about you learning how to teach. It's learning how to feel it and experience it. And then when you teach, all you have to do is talk about your experience. You're not memorizing it. You're not thinking it. You're feeling it and sharing it from your body. So it's a little bit of a different way, to go about the teaching practice, because I like to encourage people to practice together, facing one another, and biomimicry, which means they're mimicking each other. So that way you're not just using your words to teach, you're actually using the visual aid and the kinesthetics teach. Okay, so we'll field some questions at the end, but let's just get started. We start with our feet in the center of the mat, and we make sure that the equipment is ready for us. We have 2 hand holds, 2 leg loops, and the main swing. And we're going to start with our sumo, and that's our number 1 pose to go into. It's number 1 in the yoga translations. So we push the swing down with our forearms. We start with it low because it's always going to ride up. And then when we lean back, we want to get into our forearm press. Our forearm is going to create that hook, and then we slide right into the front of the mat. We use the shape of the mat in order to inform the space. So our toes are going to touch the edges. For the average person, that's going to be just about right. Now, if they're a little taller, their toes can come off the mat. If they're a little shorter, they can come in. But most of the time, if your toes are touching the edges of the mat, your tailbone is sinking straight down in the center. Okay, so bend your knees, drop your hips. Okay, yes. So most people are like this, where their pelvis is clearly not relaxed and locked. We really want to roll the tailbone back and down, so we're deepening in the hip flexors. That's the key, deepening in the hip flexors. This is a tight spot for people, so sometimes you have to invite the hip flexors to drop even more, put your hands on them, do some assisting. But in time, the pelvis will drop, and that'll traction the spine out of the pelvis to create space for the vertebrae. And that's where the magic comes in. So these are all upright postures in order to create space for the spine that will relieve tension. It'll take pressure off of the nerves. Sometimes people come in with like a bulging disc or a pinched nerve. That's pressure or compression. And we're creating space. That's the remedy, spaciousness. And then I like to do these little belly dancing moves. We keep our knees pressing open the whole time, and we wiggle our hips from side to side. So it's more of like a spin than a lateral movement. So we want to just practice what that feels like. There you go. And we really want to keep the knees open, so we're keeping the alignment of the joints. We're stacking. Okay, great. And then you'll notice that there is an obvious time where the arms need a break and you press straight back. The legs straighten. You can wiggle the swing a little bit lower. It's always directly behind the heart, okay, the center of the sternum. And then the arms can go wide, and then elbows bend for Chillaxin arms. So in Chillaxin arms, we're going to interlace our fingers behind the back of the skull. Right where the neck meets the head is the occipital ridge. Look up towards the sky. So your chest points up towards the heavens, and your head sinks back into your hands, and you're leaning back into it the whole time. This is our supported back bend. So we like to, it's like a dance. We like the poses to flow from one to the other. It doesn't have to. If there's just, one pose and then another pose, that's okay. But they're made so that the transitions are part of the practice. It's sequence then. So see if you can smooth out the poses by making the transitions really graceful. That's when you get into the mastering the basics, is when the transitions get really smooth. Okay, so I call it weeping willow when we sway from side to side. What I'm doing is pushing back and then bending one knee, and then pressing straight back and bending the other knee. So one leg stays straight and one leg bends. And then the elbow is flaring out to the outer edge of the knee to add a bit of a twist. We're arcing and opening the side body. Beautiful. And we do this as long as it feels good. We're kind of massaging out the stickiness behind the heart as well. The back body holds a lot of tension, and the pressure of the swing on the fascia and the muscles will start to loosen it up. Come on back to center. Inhale, open the arms wide. Exhale, forearm press. Really important that the arms are strong and engaged in all these poses so the hips can relax and drop. We're holding on by our armpits, which is very unusual. So take some time to get used to that. So the forearm press not only rearranges the posture and opens up the shoulders, but it gives a hook so the underarms aren't getting as much pressure. Okay, so we're hooking the wings. Okay, let's go into a little bit of a wider stance. So we're moving out to 9 and 3 so we can come into some lunges. We're going to press back, and then let's bend the right knee. And press straight back. It's a semicircle we're making, tracing our tailbone with the outer edge. So press back and around to the right. So really wide stance here, especially when you bend. You don't want your knee to come too far over the ankle. Okay, press back, over to the right, and press back, over to the left. So it's a little bit of a wider side angle than 10 and 2. And from here, we can play with the leg loops because sometimes they feel like they're in the way, like they're bopping. So I hold on to them with my hands. Okay, these are like marionette arms. And press back. And now when we come into a warrior, I'm pressing down strongly with my arms and having that upper body engagement. I press back over to the right. And we're really using the arms here. We're creating long lines of energy. Tee your arms. Look at your hands and make sure they're directly out of the shoulders. So they're level with the earth, as well as level in the side plane, right? So it's important to learn how to stack the bones in all these poses and use the equipment to create alignment. So pay attention to the lines of energy. It makes a big difference for the health of the joints. Okay, let's go ahead and heel toe to the front of the mat again. We're going to release the leg lifts from our hands. Come on back into a supported back bend. Chillaxin arms and release the fingers. And then when you sway your hips from side to side, gaze up towards the sky, heart pointing up. You'll notice there's a little bit more swag. I call it swagger when we sway from side to side. So there's a little bit more swag. So I have a little bit more momentum so you can play a little bit more with it. Maybe we're going to keep both legs straight the whole time. So no bending of the knees this time. And then maybe you can play with going all the way out to 9 and 3. Right? Have some fun with it. This is the play part. Very important to play. And then it's still a version of weeping willow because the upper body is just swaying in the wind. Feet are strongly pressing down and grounding. Hips are pressing up. You're on a diagonal. So it's not a U shape, it's a V shape. The entire body stays stacked, which means your tailbone and the crown of the head are in a straight line. Opening up from the heart. Okay, great. Come on back to center. Let's inhale, open the arms wide. Exhale, forearm press. Lift. Let's start with the left knee this time. Lift the left knee up and shoot it back. So we keep the toes tucked under. Toes tucked under. There you go. And your knees are hip distance apart. And press forward. When you press the hips forward, the knee stacks right over the ankle. So we're going to focus on stacking even in our basic class. This is more the RX program where we get into details, but we really want to make sure that everyone's playing safely, even though the swing is fully supporting the body weight. Now we can hold on for the first version. This is kind of nice, especially for our beginners. We're going to inhale, bicep curl, straighten both legs. Exhale, bend both knees, drop back down, nice and easy and slow. Support the weight. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. So this is for those that don't like the pressure under their arms. You can tell by their face. Make sure the shoulders are pulling down the back. People get into like a scarecrow move, right? So we don't want the shoulders touching the ears. We really want to create space for the neck. And that engagement will help rearrange the posture. So all of these poses are helping to improve the posture, keeping the spine in a straight line, vertical line, straight up and down. That's our axes. And then we're going to come down, and now we're going to try our Chillaxin arms. All right, shake it out for a second. So now what we're going to do is stay in the back bend, and we're going to press the front leg straight, and then we're going to bend the knee, and we're going to press it straight, and we're going to bend the knee. And just notice how different that is. It goes deeper into the quad, right? Knees stay hip distance, so we're keeping those long lines of energy. We keep the chest pointing up towards the sky the whole time, and the head relaxed back. Beautiful. And then the last one is we're going to bend both knees, come into a forearm press. This might even be the hardest one, because that way when we're straightening, we're pressing our arms in, and it's a little bit more engaged, right? So you have 3 different versions. You can come straight up and down on this one too. So we do both legs straight, press in, straight up and down, straight up and down. Yeah, straight up. Yes, harder, right? Don't slide your arms down so you can't see. Keep them up high. Yeah, that's it. So straight up, up. Yeah, harder, right? Not back, up. All right. So we're using Beverly as our guinea pig today. So that's who's giggling in the background. So straight legs, toes touch, feet together, and we're coming back to reset the spine through our weeping willow. We're going to change the order of that and see how different it is, okay? And you can play around with the order. Holding on to the swing with the hands is the easiest one, right? Just remember that if you're wondering which one to do. All right. We're going to pick up the right knee and shoot it back. Stay in your back bend, okay? Right knee bends. We start out with the left leg straight, and then we bend both knees. And then we straighten the left leg. Bend both knees and straighten. So what we're looking for is a deep stretch through the quad, the psoas, the hip flexor, the belly on the right side. And if you're feeling that deep stretch, you're doing it right. If you don't feel anything, let me know. I'll help you. All right. So what we're going to do is bend both knees. You can even bring the knee down for a second, come into a forearm press. And then when we press our arms in, we're going to try to come straight up and down. So you have to get your head and your tailbone in a straight line so you can press straight up. So arms higher so you don't block your view. Okay, straight up. Yes, you have to use your legs for that and really press. You'll feel your core even engage. Yeah, press towards me. Yeah. Don't come up so high. Stay down low, because that is actually harder. You can just straighten all the way and be like, oh, that was fun. No, stay low. Really work the arms. And from here, we can press and come into a little bit more of a back bend, and then come down, press, and now we back bend, but with the legs engaged. Yeah, so those ones would be the harder of the easy. Okay, both legs straight out in front of you. Oh my goodness. Weeping willow. We're going to do a twist, and then we're done with number 1. So that was about 15 minutes. So if you're not sure what to do, just break each section up into 10 or 15 minutes. Take 10 minutes for number 1, 10 minutes for number 2, etc. So we're taking 15 minutes because I'm adding a lot more detail than you normally would. But again, I'm wanting you to get it in your body. And once you get it in your body correctly, you can teach it. So people are going to be looking at you and mimicking you. So we want to make sure the bones are stacked, the energy is aligned, the shoulders are down the back, the head is right on top of the spine, all those details, right? And then when we teach it, we can simplify it. Okay, coming back to center. Inhale, bring the arms wide. Exhale, forearm press. So that's our cue, right? Inhale wide, open up the chest, exhale, press. So these are things you'll just repeat over and over again in your mind when you're practicing for the next month, because I really encourage you to practice before teaching. Obviously, I say take 30 days and really practice every day, and then turn in your homework so you can get certified. Okay, we're going to flex the toes back because it's easier to understand from this position. And then from there, we're going to roll onto the outer edge of the left foot. The right leg is going to pick up, and then we step that out to, for me, it's 3, but for you, it's 9. Okay, on our clock. Toes towards the edge of the mat. Okay, now the bottom foot is already flexed, but that is the cue there. So sometimes flexing the feet first helps people get the flex. Now we're gonna press and lift and twist while we're dropping the hips. Can you lift your chest and drop your hips at the same time? It's a little tricky. It's a dynamic tension, I call it, because there's usually we push the hips up to lift the chest, but we lift the chest but drop the hips. It's going to be an intense oblique stretch on the left side. It's pretty amazing. Now, if there's any tension in your neck, Beverly, why don't you try using the Chillaxin arms and just notice you don't have to strain the neck here, because what we're trying to open up is the hips and the obliques in the side body. So if the head or neck looks at all strained, invite them to support, right? Because we always keep our head relaxed in these poses, so we're not moving from our neck, but we're moving from our core. It's a totally different thing. Okay, so let's pulse. Inhale, lift the hips. Exhale, drop the hips. Go a little bit deeper. We always pulse with the breath so we can revisit some of the tightness, kind of with like a newfound perspective. Taking a little break helps to come back to things. Inhale, lift. Exhale, press. Okay, inhale, lift the knee. Come on back to center. I like to just flex the feet back and give it a little wiggle from side to side. Oh, just an amazing, every transition is part of the pose. Remember, look at me. This is how I'm wiggling from side to side. I'm taking my feet as they're flexed and I'm wiggling them from side to side. And then roll onto the outer edge of the right. Pick up the left knee. Ooh, step it over. I'm like, all of a sudden I'm feeling my glute here. That's exciting. That's a new sensation. Okay. So my foot is stepped out to what?
9. 3 or 9.
3 or 9. 9 for me, 3 for you. Okay. So we're using our clock analogy to help us find the alignment. So my knee stays stacked over the ankle, and I'm going to twist, dropping the hips, but lifting the chest, looking back the other shoulder, looking back the other way. The opposite direction of the knee will bring out the spine. Inhale, lift the hips. Exhale, drop. Let it be a micro movement. It's a pulse. Flex those toes back. That's the alignment that protects the knee, okay? Inhale, lift. Exhale, drop. So my hip is in line with the ankle, and my hip is in line with my knee. That looks great. Now I'm just saying the cues. You're doing it perfectly. Thank you, Beverly. But just notice that it's like a figure 4. If you're needing a reference, I think of it as a figure 4. In WWF wrestling. Inhale, lift. One more time. Exhale, drop. Keep the chest lifted the whole time. Oh my God, that feels so good. Okay, go ahead and come on back to center. One last time. You're going to have to push that swing down because it will ride up. So we always come to our supported back bend in Weeping Willow as our reset. This gives time to integrate and absorb the benefits of the pose, but also allows the hips to neutralize after some of these intense stretches. And we're going to practice our angel wings, okay? And it looks like this. Just watch for the first one, Beverly, okay? So I'm going to open up my arms wide. I'm going to bend my knees. And when I do, I'm going to push my hips forward, okay? And I'm going to swim forward and back. Now, once I get enough momentum, I can push all the way forward. I drop my knees, but I keep tension on the swing the whole time. So it's a really wonderful pendulum swing, okay? And then swim back. So let's do it together. Inhale here. Exhale, press all the way. Press, 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 yeah. And then come on back. And then you just use some momentum. So press forward. So make sure you're pressing with the hips and then back. Let the swing hold you the whole time. This is why we went over these instructions. Right. So inhale here, exhale, press. So let the swing hold you. That's as far as you go. And then drop into it. Yes, move it out. Beautiful. Press forward. Press, press, press. Stay low. So you're staying with tension on the swing the whole time. Good. If you move your feet back just a few inches, it'll be easier for you. Okay, that's a little cheater, but doesn't matter because you can have your feet at the front of the mat or closer to the center, but you'll just notice it's a little bit easier for you now. Inhale here, one last time. Exhale, press, 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 press. No, we'll try it again. Smooth it out, right? This is our practice. So press with the hips, not the head. That's it. Those are your hips. Good. Now bend your elbows. Keep the legs straight, but step them wide. Keep your hips back, press them back, wide, 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 all the way, wide. Yeah, good. Now we just transitioned from our angel wings right into 2A. This is the wide straddle elbow hook. So we're coming into some forward folds now, okay? Now in our forward folds, we always stack the bones. That means our hips come over our ankles. Most people are too far forward, so make sure that you let them sink back. Sink back into the heels is a good cue then. And then we allow our gaze to trace the shape of the mat. Our hands are flexed. Let your fist be towards your chest like that. Yes, good. Beautiful. Okay, we're going to do this part a little bit quicker so we can get into our down dog. This is more of a transitional pose for us. We're going to come to center, release the left hand down like a football stance towards the front of the mat, up onto the fingertips like you're ready to take off in a sprint. So you make a fist and it's aiming towards your chest, your sternum, and then you twist. You look up towards the sky. Okay? Inhale, lengthen the spine, and then exhale, look down. Inhale, lengthen, and then exhale, twist. Good. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, look down. So we always create the length first, and then we spin on axes and twist and look up towards the sky. All right, let's just go ahead and straighten that top arm. Hold on to the swing. So you're going to rotate it overhead. When you rotate it overhead, we're just going to go right into second side. Okay? Bend the elbow. Left arm comes through, and then the other hand comes down. We're going to skip our presses for today so we can get even on both sides. Inhale, lengthen. So your tailbone pulls back and the crown of the head pulls forward. That's what I mean by lengthen. And then exhale, twist. Bring that fist towards your sternum. Look up towards the sky. Inhale, lengthen. Pull the tailbone back. Pull the crown of the head forward. Exhale, twist. Inhale, lengthen. So we neutralize the spine. Exhale, twist. Good. Inhale, lengthen. One more. You might get a free chiropractic adjustment with these. They're amazing. Exhale, twist. My lower back always adjusts. Okay, now inhale, lengthen the top arm towards the sky. Hold on to the swing. We'll do one press here. Rotate it overhead. And then hold on with your fingers. Hold on with your hands. Bend your elbows a lot. Remember, the elbows are right underneath what? The shoulders. Pull the elbows in. Where's your head? Your head is above your arms. Okay, that is the cue. Your ears do not drop past your biceps. That's how you keep the shoulders happy and safe, right? And what we're doing is we're just bending one knee at a time. All right, so we keep the feet nice and wide, heels turning out, toes in slightly. And we're feeling the stretch through the back of the legs. We're preparing the body to come through our down dog sequence. Beautiful. And then we're going to inhale, press, 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 come up to stand. Straight arms, straight arms. Yes, lift and press. Beautiful. Come on to center. So, Beverly, I'm going to keep facing this way, but you're going to face the same way, and you'll be able to see me when you're upside down then. Okay. So, to come into our forward folds, we're going to press the swing down with straight arms so the swing touches the top of the legs. So we're going to find our alignment, crown of the head towards the sky, okay, throughout this whole movement here. So we press the hips forward, crown of the head stays towards the sky the whole time. Then when we press forward all the way, now we're ready to bend at the hip flexors, bend at the hip crease, and come on down. Okay, feet stay hip distance. And then we're going to clasp our elbows and hang. So the balls of the feet are where your weight is hanging out, and the heels are slightly up, but the sit bones rise towards the sky. So your sit bones lift up. And that's how you lengthen the back of the legs here. This is a forward fold, but we're pressing forward the whole time, keeping tension on the swing. Really lengthen through the side body, holding on to the outer edges of the elbows, and twist from side to side. Just give yourself a moment to drop in. Good. So sometimes you have to hang out in these poses for a few minutes before the body starts to unwind and relax enough to release tension. At first you might just feel the tightness. Maybe it's the back of the legs, maybe it's the glutes, maybe it's the paraspinals. Wherever it is, shake out your hair, shake out your thoughts. And let's go ahead and change our clasp
to the back of the neck and pull straight down very gently on the head to lengthen through the central spine. Okay, good. And now from here, this is our forward fold. We're going to just stretch our arms forward into a down dog. You don't have to move your feet at all. Feet stay in the center of the mat. And then what we do is we press our heart back towards our knees. So our head stays in line with the spine, our tailbone stays lifted. Even though we're up on the balls of the feet, we're lengthening through our Achilles, right? The heels are not going to touch down, but they're lengthening towards the ground. And from our down dog, we go into cat's meow. So I like to inhale and lift. Exhale, round in and squeeze. Navel towards the sky. Inhale, arch and open. That's it. Exhale, round in and squeeze. Really round the back here. Inhale, lift. Good. Exhale, round in. Undulating the spine back and forth. So now we're going to add a leg. Inhale, lift the right leg up. Inhale, lift. Well, just follow me. This one. We have to learn how to teach backwards too. That's the exciting part. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, lift. Exhale, knee to nose. So cat's meow with a leg lift. Inhale, lift. Exhale, squeeze. Use your core there. Last one. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. When we lower, we're just going to come into what I call happy dog, where we just wag our tail. So keep your arms stretched out. So you're in a V shape. Some people kind of slide into a U. Make sure you're nice and stretched out, keeping the chest pressing towards the knees. So second side, inhale, lift and arch. Left leg up. Exhale, squeeze, knee to nose. Inhale, lift, arch and open. Good. Exhale, squeeze. Long lines of energy here. Inhale, lift all the way. Yes, that's it. Beautiful. Exhale, round in. Arms stay straight the whole time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, squeeze. Last time. Inhale, lift. Let's just stay here and stay lifted. So what we do is we take our leg and we press it to the side. Okay, press it to the outside. If we press it far enough, we can bend the knee and the foot will hook on the outside of the swing. Really arch and open to get it. Arch and open. Stay arched. Straight arms out in front, not to the side. Your arms stay straight. Your leg goes out to the side. Yes, and it's right there. See how different that is? Yes. Yeah. If you bend your whole body to the side, you actually can't hook. It's kind of magic. A little bit of physics, but mostly magic. So now we're in a one-legged dog. Now we're going to press our chest strongly towards our knee. Try to drop your right heel down and get a big stretch to the legs. We go into some advanced sequences here in our more intermediate practice. So we're going to just hang out here. This is as far as we go for today. Feels amazing, really intense. So we're going to inhale, arch and lift, and then exhale, bring that leg back down. Stay arched. So don't lose your center line, okay, Beverly? Yes. So you pull forward, you lift your right leg up. That goes out to the side, just the leg. Yeah, then when you bend the knee, kick. Yes, it's right there. See? Stay arched. Stay arched. Yeah, that's it. Now you can press your chest towards your knee, drop your heel. Push your arms straight, right? So you have to press into your arms to get your chest closer to your knee, and then you get this big stretch through the hamstring. Oh, so good. All right. Inhale, pull forward. Exhale, lower that leg. So happy dog. We're going to reset here, and then we'll end with our headstand, which turns into a relaxation pose. So from happy dog, we're going to come back to center. Let your hands slide to the front of the mat again. They always stay straight and shoulder distance. And then the feet are going to float no higher than the hips, right? So we make sure our feet stay heavy, but I call it a floating plank pose. Straight arms the entire time. Good. So plank is with straight arms. Now, if we bend the elbows, that's called a chatarunga or some sort of push-up, right? So try those. Just try tiny little dips. you're dipping with your chest and not your head, so your gaze is forward the whole time. These are kind of the easier ones.
Yeah.
We do harder push-ups later. Okay, so after that, we're going to straighten the arms for plank again. We're going to pull the knee to the elbow and let ourselves sway a little bit from front to back. So just try it. Knee to the outer elbow. Okay, one at a time. So these are our chaturungas to knee and elbows, straight arms. And then we can do a leapfrog where we try getting both knees to both elbows simultaneously. Yeah, a little leapfrog action. It's like a bakasana, but for a microsecond. Okay, good. That's our playtime. Now we can bend both elbows, drop into our forearms. I call this a floating leaf. Okay, so we're floating. Feet are still heavy towards the ground. And then from there, we keep our elbows directly under our shoulders, clasp our hands together. Let the crown of the head find the floor. It's in a little tripod. So we have our stability in the upper body. We can bend the knees, keep the ankles touching, and you're in a headstand. So crown of the head presses down. There's just a little bit of weight on the top of the head. Most of the weight is being held by your legs, by the swing. And let's hang out here for 5 breaths. Let it be relaxing. So in this pose, if you like to do a more advanced version, you can hook your feet outside in if you got that hook the first time. That is a little bit more intense on the hip flexors, so only do it if you want to increase the difficulty of your headstand. Otherwise, keep it very restorative and relaxed just by letting the legs float, knees bent, feet together, heels close to the bum. Okay. After 5 breaths, we're just going to straighten our legs down towards the ground. We'll come back to our floating leaf. Our arms are going to straighten out in front of us, always shoulder distance, keeping them straight. Okay. And then we can, from our down dog, just start to walk forward. We're going to try to come out through angel wings, and this requires a little bit more engagement through the back body. So make sure that you're ready. You might need to take a couple more breaths. Feet are hip distance, so come on back down and do this together. Okay. Keep walking forward until you feel tension on the swing. Then the arms come out to the sides. Lift the chest all the way, all the way. So don't stay halfway in this. You come all the way up immediately. So then when you get to the top, hold on to the swing, come on out. Very good. We're halfway there. We got through both 1 and 2. Have a little sip of water, take a little reset, fix your hair, fix your clothes. And you should have very different hips now. So just take a moment to feel your hips, right? You're not seeing what Beverly is doing. She's trying to make me laugh. Yes, feel your hips. You're welcome for the new hips. Now we're going to go right into 3. We're not going to take a long break today because I do want to leave a few minutes for Shavasana. But you can pause in between there because it's a natural transition to go into Sumo and then floating leaf and then Chillaxin. So we always get back into the swing with a Sumo pose. Center of the mat. Forearms press the swing down. We lean back. Woo! Little trust. We can actually hold on there if that's too scary for your beginner people. Slide forward. Keep the alignment. Alignment is key for happiness and openness. 10 and 2. Now we have to always hug the swing, right? We want to keep the hook under the arms. If we reach through the center, we're going to lose our hook. We're not going to fall far, but we don't want anybody going kerplunk unnecessarily onto the floor. So this is our hook, right? That makes sense. But when we get into more of the advanced poses, people tend to lose their hooks. So we have to remind them here to always hug the swing. So it's a habit in the mind before we get into some tricks. Let's go ahead and reach for the right leg loop with both hands. So the leg loop is going to go on the ankle, okay? Floating Buddhas with the leg loop on the ankle. So we're going to lift the knee,
bend it out to the side and get your foot in there in the center. Good. Now it's fully suspended, second side. Lift the knee out to the side, get the foot in there. Yeah, now everything should be lined up, but keep an eye on your buddy. You know, make sure their toes are not higher than their gaze. Like my leg loops are pretty much as high as I want them. I could bring mine down, but not up. And I just want you guys to know the difference, okay? I don't mind mine a little bit higher, but they do give a deeper stretch to the hamstrings if they're higher, right? Drop your hips a lot. Open your heart, lean back, support the head. So hips heavy, heart open, head relaxed. That's our mantra in our poses. And we're going to gently rock from side to side. So this is called windshield wipers. It's like swagger, but with straight legs. So it looks like windshield wipers to me. So I try to create the names and sequences to be funny and silly so we remember. We've all seen windshield wipers previously, so they remind me of windshield wipers. Okay, so we push one foot down and then the other foot down, and that's how we get our swag. Takes a little while for people to find their rhythm, so have them play with it. This also opens up the connective tissue, the fascia, the sheath over the muscles, and it's just amazing. So if we lift our heart, drop our hips, and relax our head back, that's enough. You'll get a really deep stretch through the legs, through the hips, even the back body. My upper back is getting a great adjustment right now. That's why I'm kind of dragging it out because it feels so good. So anyhow, we're going to move on. Come on back to center, legs wide. Let's start out with some pigeon poses. So we're going to bend the right knee, grab for whatever you can. I usually say grab for the leg loop. It's just a nice thing to hold on to, right? Arms stay wrapped around. And I'm engaging, I'm pulling down. Okay, go ahead and open it up. Let's try the other side. Left knee bends out. Grab for the leg loop and then just pull down. So I'm holding on with it's pulling the shoulders down the back, right? Yeah. Can you feel the difference? It's pretty amazing. And then of course, this is the focus right now. The little hip is opening up. I can feel it. I'm sure you guys can feel it. So let's revisit that because the underarms take a lot of pressure there. So right knee bends out, holding on. Now you could help the knee in towards the chest. That's a good variation. All right, get and open it up. Again, bend the left knee. I hold on to the leg loop with my right hand. My left hand goes to my left knee and I'm pulling in. Okay, knee towards the chest. Okay, we're gonna do one more variation where we open it up. I'm gonna bend my right knee and I'm gonna hold on to the foot with my left hand. My right hand is gonna press my right knee down. So that's 3 different versions. They're all amazing. This is opening up more of the iliac crest than the piriformis. It's just such an incredible pose. Now from this position of the knee pointing down towards the ground, I'm going to allow my left hand to reach up as high as it can on the leg loop. I'm gonna press my hips forward and get the bottom of the foot on the inner thigh. And then I can hang out here in my side tree. So that's a nice transition, right? Ta-da! All right, good. Come on back to center, unfurl, drop your hips, straighten the legs. Let's go over that last pigeon pose. So bend the left knee out to the side, grab for the foot, left hand, left knee, press it down. And so what I'm doing is I'm pulling my foot towards my heart, towards my sternum, and at the same time I'm pressing my knee down towards the ground. Every transition is a pose, right? So I'm opening up the iliac crest, that hip connection to the lower back. And then when I'm ready, when I feel open enough, I'm gonna reach up as high as I can with my right hand. I have to pull and press my hips forward to get the bottom of the foot to the inner thigh. Knee points down towards the ground even more. Yeah, so it's opening up the hips. And then side tree. Good. Such a great stretch. Just hang out here. You can support the head with your hand too. I call it supermodel. You bend the elbow and just let your head kind of relax into your hand. Yeah, ta-da. You look very pretty. Okay, and then unwind. Come on back to center. Let's use our windshield wipers to reset. Just like we did with our supported back bend. Just sway it out in between things. Neutralize the spine. Make sure you don't kick anything. anyone or anything. Might want to slow your roll if there's a lot of people around. Okay, great. We're going to come on back to center. I'm going to just do one, I call it swing bada, where both knees bend. We did one knee at a time. Now we're going to just do both knees bend. I push my knees down to start to open up the hips, and at the same time I can come into what I call a diamond with the arms and a diamond with the legs. Okay, this is a nice place to just chill and relax, but we're going to come, we'll revisit it. We're just going to come through our vinyasa flow, and then we'll end with our flying monkey. Let's inhale, open it up now. So wide straddle, right? So T the arms. For our wide straddle T, we're going to just open the heart into a star. So let's try that a few times. Wide straddle T, star. So it's all about the upper thoracic spine and the heart lifting. The hips don't move at all. So that's a really important transition that we learn how to do with the swing. Keeping the hips heavy. Now we can come into namaste. The hands come to prayer. The legs squeeze together. We press the hips up. The forearms are hooked. Okay? That's how you know you're in the right place. Keep pressing the hips up. Lean back. It's an amazing stretch for the front of the neck and shoulders. Exhale, drop the hips, wide straddle. T the arms. Star. Inhale, open it up. Exhale, namaste. Hands to prayer. Press the hips up, lean back. Take a breath here. Inhaling and exhaling deeply. Next in breath. Inhale, reach up and grab for the swing. Exhale, let it slide to the waist. Ladle. It slides across the hips. Head points straight down. You can stay holding on, or if you're balanced, you can bring the arms wide and then overhead. Toes touch. Long lines of energy from the fingertips to the toes. Inhale, swing the arms back up. Hold on to the swing. Exhale, lower the hips. And come on back. So I usually recommend doing 5 rounds of that half vinyasa flow. We also revisit that with some flips when we get into our intermediate practice. It's really fun. But we're going to move on because we're going to come back to our swing bada. We're going to reach for our knees and slide down towards our ankles and up the leg loops as high as possible. Glue the feet together, press the hips up and lean back. It might be an amazing stretch for the neck and shoulders. Oh, so good. Sometimes I'll play here with bicep curls. So we come and sit on the feet. There's a few different variations. Bicep curls is one of my favorites. So we get that upper body strength. Lead with the heart, not the head. We don't pull with the head. We lift the heart. It's very different. Okay, the next one I like to do is keep holding on. You can bring the legs wide, and then you can do wide straddle bicep curls. These are a little bit harder. So pick your bicep curl of the day, right? Which one feels good for you? But we really want to get that upper body strength so we can come into some of the flips. Very good. Yeah, we don't want to cheat it. We want to keep the hips heavy and wide and lift from the heart. Okay, let's just release because the hands are going to need a break. Jazz hands, shake it out, shake it out. From here, we can slide right into our Chillaxin arms and bend the knees and slide right into Chillaxin. So we can skip the most advanced pose, like the last pose or the bonus poses at the end of a sequence are the most advanced. So in a beginner class, you can always skip those unless you have like, you know, a show pony. One of our superstars shows up and they're like, okay, we want to come into splits and twists and flips, then we can go into wow. But for the most person, that's enough. You'll see that they're done. So we're going to spend a few minutes in Chillaxin, and we're going to leave a bit of time for our Shavasana. Don't skip Shavasana, even though it's tempting to kind of like stuff the class full of activity. Shavasana really allows us to receive. We want to receive the goodness of our practice. Right? It's kind of like going to work and not getting your paycheck. You're like, hey, wait a second. We want to take the time to receive those bonuses. Awesome. Okay, come on back to center. So this was Chillaxin into swagger. Lots of swing in the swing. So let's say it again together. Hips heavy.
Hips heavy.
Heart open.
Heart open.
Head relaxed.
Head relaxed.
Very good. Now from here, we can always give it a little hop if we need the swing to come down, or we can just lean back. There's 2 different adjustments. The swing is always going to ride up, right? Whenever it does, don't stay in discomfort. Just make a change. It's pretty easy to take frequent breaks with that.
often my clients will just be like, oh, hold on. And you can just see they're just enjoying it. And they get the benefit of this beautiful back bend, right? So just enjoy those frequent breaks. We're gonna get the right foot on top of the left thigh to come into a seated pigeon. So another version, right? This one's a little bit easier for the average person to get into. So you might skip 3 if you're in a time crunch and just go right to 4. So 1, 2, 4, because people like Chillaxin. The floating bada is a little bit more challenging, but that would be kind of like the height of the practice, and then Chillaxin is how we cool down. Okay, we can straighten that leg out to get a deeper stretch through the IT band and add a twist. Yeah, grab for whatever you can reach and twist. That's always nice. We're going to pick that foot up and switch sides. So you just use your momentum, get the left foot on top. There's about 100 different variations we can do in our seated pigeon. I'd say go for watching an entire video on that if you want to go deeper into this practice. But we just did pigeon, so we're going to go a little bit faster. One option is Chillaxin arms. Another option is hugging. I grab the leg loops. It's almost like a child's pose. And then the third option is undulating, going from like a scar to a child's back and forth. So those are all the variations I do to really make us lead with the heart, Beverly. Remember, when you hug with the heart, not the head. Yeah. Even though in child's pose, we do a head dive. This one, we're doing a heart dive. And then that leg straightens out. We're going to keep the foot sliding up the leg loop, okay? Now, Chillaxin arms is a nice, easier version, a more restorative version. Or we tee the arms, twist, grab for whatever you can. I'm grabbing for the leg loop, but the foot is an option. And then really wring out the spine, really twist. That's it. Oh, it's going to feel amazing for the intercostals, the rib cage. Okay, lift that foot, come on out. Back to swagger to reset. So even if we go a little bit faster, don't skip the reset, don't skip the swagger. Plus it just is so fun. It feels good. Invite your buddy to play, maybe, trying to explore the edges. What would that feel like to add a little bit more swag? Otherwise, smooth jaws. Keep it nice and slow, especially if they get woozy or airsick. Some people aren't used to all this movement, and so you can always bring one foot down and slow your roll, I call it. Once we come back to center, let's go ahead and revisit our chill flow. We're going to inhale, tee the arms. Exhale, child's, round in, and now you can bow. We want to round the back because it's a counterbalance to the arching. Inhale, open up for star, long arms, long legs. Exhale, child's, which is undulate a few times like that. Beautiful. Inhale, expand, star, lead from the heart. Exhale, round in and squeeze, rest here. Let's add on from there. So inhale, open it up for star. Now we exhale into namaste, hands to prayer at the heart. Squeeze the legs together. Inhale, press the hips up. Exhale, lean back. Oh. Take a few breaths here because it just feels so amazing. All right, let's do one more round. Exhale, sink the hips down. Inhale, tee the arms. Exhale, child's. Inhale, star. Expand it out. Exhale, namaste. Hands to prayer. Inhale, press the hips up. Toes touch, lean back. Inhale, reach up, grab for the swing. We're going into ladle once again. As soon as you bring weight into the top of the head, the swing will naturally slide towards the hips. Wiggle it into a sweet spot. Keep holding on or swing the arms wide and around. So ladle can be with the hands straight, the arms straight, hands holding on, or they can be with the arms straight overhead. Stay here if you're happy, or bend the knees. We're going to go into our bow pose. Now, if that's not in your flow, just stay holding on to the swing. Just bend your knees wherever you are. Arch and open from the heart. It's a big stretch. Take some time to let the body unwind. Breathe into the belly. Lift from the chest. Release the ankles. Inhale, reach up. Grab for the swing. Bicep curl. Up to sit. You might get a gigantic head rush. That's the good stuff. And then gentle rocking from side to side. Heart open, head relaxed, hips heavy. Whew.
So yeah, you can do that a few more rounds too, either the full bow or just the first half of chilled flow. Especially with beginners, we have to warm up the spine before we go into that big of a back bend. All right, let's go ahead and reach for our knees, prepare for our butterfly. We're gonna come through our bicep curls, so slide up the leg loops as high as possible. Now it's important that we play with alignment here. So we're bicep curl, lift, keep the head in line with the body, open up the legs. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, lift and open, bicep curl. Exhale, squeeze. Maybe 5 of these to warm up the hips. Yes, because we're moving into our straddle splits, so that's really challenging for a lot of people. So warm up the hips first. And then the next one, we're going to come up and we're going to balance. So what we do is we make sure that we're straight up and down so our arms can float in front of the leg loops. Now, I can lean forward and back and still keep my head lifted towards the sky. So imagine the crown of the head pointing towards the sky, okay, in all these poses. So you're kind of pressing forward with your hips. The heart stays open. If you don't push your hips forward, you're not going to be able to come into it. Yeah. It's okay if the leg loops slide up, but if they can stay where they are, we bend the elbows, bend the knees, keep pressing the hips forward and down. Lift the feet slightly. Yeah, lift them up. Yeah, that's it. So feet are going to stay level with your hips. That's how the hips can come forward. Now we're opening everything. We're opening up the belly, the chest, the arms, the shoulders, the hips, the legs. It's a pretty amazing pose. And we're going to end here today just because of timing. If we had more time, we'd go into our lunges and dancing Shiva. Just take the class as far as you can each time. Bring the legs wide, pull the feet down towards the ground, sink your hips back, catch with your arms. Land it in Chillaxin. As long as you have your arms hooked, you're all good. It's like a little scary to lean back first time, so you can always hold on to the swing. Really good. You can come into butterfly from skydiver for a few rounds as well. We're going to try it in the high skydiver position and then transition into our cocoon from there. So we're going to reach for our knees, slide up the leg loops as high as we can. When we bicep curl, we squeeze our legs together in the center of the mat. When we squeeze them together and they're straight, the swing's going to slide up to the groin. It's like a little parachute or skydiving equipment. If I lean back, I'm going to notice there's a space in between the swing and the leg loops. Hold on to the swing so you know that you got it. Then bring your hands to prayer and press them forward. Now you're going to press the leg loops away. So it looks very similar. Tee the arms. Look out immediately and make sure your thumbs are in line with your shoulder. Okay. Then we're going to walk our legs wide. So back to like a wide straddle. I negotiate with the leg loops so they're on the outer side of the hip bone so they feel a little bit better. Yep. And then I just push my hips forward and sway from side to side. Banking. Keep the T. Yeah. Just press your hands more forward than you think, Beverly. Yeah, that's a T. Yeah. Most people go into a Y. It's a T. Okay. Now we come to center, bend the elbows, flex so your hands are going to stay high towards your ears. Lift your legs up and out wide. Keep the knees wide and then so the feet touch. Knees stay wide and feet touch. Good. So it looks like butterfly. A little bit easier to get into, not as much hip opening, but still a good shoulder opener. Sometimes spanking from side to side can also feel good here. So be willing to play with it as long as your lower back is happy. A few deep breaths. If you drop your head here, it's okay. The weight of your head is going to open up your shoulders even more. I do like to keep the alignment of the spine just as a good habit. But if you drop your weight, it actually opens up the chest, which is really nice. Bring the legs back down wide. So wide center on the mat, 9 and 3. I'm going to lift. So I bicep curl, lift. I might get a little head rush, so be careful when you lean back. I'm going to keep the leg loops high. I'm going to stand in the center of the mat again, and I'm going to try, we might get entangled, but I'm going to try to spread the swing out. So I bring my hands to the front edge of the swing so that I can get inside. I keep a nice big handful, and I stretch it all the way out to the knees, And when I do, I drop my bum and the leg loops will naturally slide back down to the knees. And then from there, I'm in my cocoon. I can just spread the leg loops out. I slide them over the foot, and then they're going to extend the full length of the calf. Make sure you hook the heel so that they stay on. It's a nicer hold, and it keeps the feet warm when it's not summer. My arms are dangling over my head with bent elbows. Now you can hug yourself and just have your arms cross over your chest. Just figure out what feels best for you so you can fully relax. We made it. Great job. That was a nice, long, strong beginner class. We got our flexibility. We built some strength. We definitely activated the spine, created alignment. So open, align, release. That's our tag. And so where can we let go? Where can we drop? Maybe the heart and the head and the hips can all relax back a little bit more. Maybe the legs can be even heavier so we can allow the swing to hug us and hold us, gently rocking and swaying in the wind. Letting it feel good to fully let go. Just 5 minutes for today, but I recommend 10, 15 minutes in your Shavasana at home. In my workshops, I try to allow for a half-hour cocooning meditation. It's amazing. So the longer the better. Feel free to take a nap in this position. It's so soothing for the nervous system and immune system to just nap while suspended. Feels really good. You can always bend the knees and lengthen your legs towards the sky too. So Beverly, just for the camera, why don't you go ahead and change into your Viparita for the last few moments. I forgot about that. So yeah, Viparita, where we kind of pull the energy back into the swing, is also a great option. So in this pose, we release the leg loops, extend the legs towards the sky in a V shape. And it drains even more stagnation out of the legs. This is so good for leg cramps, for swollen ankles, all of those things that happen from too much sitting and driving, computer, flying. Oh my God, this is such great relief for all that stagnation that happens through travel. And really simple. You just let the swing support you. You can soften the knees and let them bend if that feels a little bit better. Just where can you hang out? Get the most relaxation. Beautiful. 5 more deep breaths here before we come to a close. Enjoy this divine hug from our universal mother, that maternal instinct for ourselves can kick in where we're nurturing ourselves. And then when you're ready, wherever you are, you're just going to wiggle your fingers and toes. Roll your ankles around, lift them towards the sky. If your leg loops are still on, go ahead and remove those one at a time. Hold on to the back of the legs. Give yourself a little bit of a hug here. If you want to go into a deeper hug, we're all going to bend our knees and wrap our arms around our shins and curl up into a little ball. In this position, just allow yourself to harness all the beautiful energies that were cultivated into the center of your core. Like little packages, little gifts, you're going to bring them with you. And then let's blossom and extend past the edges of the cocoon. Straight arms, straight legs, gently fishtail from side to side, pushing the hips up and allowing your body to arch and open. Stretch, stretch, stretch everything. Create more space. Allow for more openness. And then when you're ready, bend your knees, reach up for the back edge of the swing. Pull yourself up to sit. And keep holding on to the back edge. Land it, center the mat. Arms wrap around into a hug. Hands to prayer of the heart for namaste. I like to just have that sacred pause of appreciation and send a wave of love and gratitude over the physical body, sending love and gratitude for all beings, for one another, for this opportunity, this place, this space, this time, for this even technology that allows us to share these videos, for all of the gifts that are coming into our world. It's just nice to stay centered in the heart as we release the practice. So slowly come into a forward fold, releasing the swing, and roll up nice and slow one more time. If you feel like you need to come down and ground, child's pose is a great position to end in, where you're really connecting to the earth. We're gonna close for today. Thank you so much, Beverly, for practicing. She's now finished with the basic training, so exciting. And you can find out more about my teacher trainings at ayrx.online, that's AYRX.online, or go to AerialYogaPlay.com. That'll take you to what's happening next. Look at our events page. Thank you so much. We'll be in touch.